Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, a great millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say Shalom to your Akim out there, Shabbat, Shalom. And this is a Wars and Rumors of Wars update. And this is a sit-down lesson for In the News on the Shabbat, July the 27th, 2022 at 1:20 p.m. Central Standard Time on this Wednesday afternoon. And as you see, the tensions are starting to increase more and more now than ever in the last days between, China and the United States. Even though I believe Joe Biden was going to have a phone conversation with the president of China to talk about this issue at hand. And let's see what that's going to lead into. But at the current moment right now, if Nancy Pelosi, if she do visit the island of Taipei, Taiwan, this is going to be the United States is going to try their best to protect her during her visit, and then they're going to deploy more ships and more tanks and everything like that, And this is a news article. I just wanted to add that with that. So this is a news article from July the 27th, 2022. WorldNews.com, alternative news from RT.com. And a highlight of this news article, and it reads, Pentagon prepares for contingencies near Taiwan, media reports. The U.S. could shift its forces in the region to protect U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi if she visits the island, the Associated Press reports. It says the Pentagon could send additional ships, aircrafts, and surveillance systems to protect U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi if she proceeds with her plan to visit Taiwan, Associated Press reported on Wednesday, citing an unnamed U.S. official. The contingency plan, which is being developed by the American military, involves creating overlapping rings of protection for the speaker during her flight to the island and her stay there, the news agency says. It says the officials also spoke of the need to create a buffer zone along Pelosi and her plane during the visit, ready for any potential incident relating to China. Yep, that's what goes into that Wars and Rumors of Wars, yep. Associated Press reported Beijing, which considers the self-governed island as part of its territory, and has repeatedly warned that Pelosi's visit to Taiwan might trigger a serious reaction and having unbearable consequences for the relations between China and the United States. If the U.S. insists on going its own way and challenging China's bottom line, it will surely be met with forceful response. China Foreign Minister spoke Zhao Lin told journalists on Wednesday. It says the head of the U.S. Joint Chief to Staff, General Mark Milley, recently noted that the number of intercepts by China aircraft and ships in the Pacific region involving American forces and their allies have significantly increased over the past 5 years. He also warned of a rising number of unsafe interactions. The U.S. official who spoke to the Associated Press doubled that China will take any direct actions against Pelosi herself, but some analysts said a Chinese show of force might go hourly and result in a dangerous incident such as an air collision. Early several media reports suggested that Beijing might go as far as to declare no-fly zone over Taiwan or sending warplanes to exhort the House Speaker's planes. The official told Associated Press that the U.S. would need to have rescue capabilities on the ground during the visit, adding that some helicopters and ships could be sent to the area for the proposed. That also said the prospects of an intercept or show of force by the Chinese military will make necessary for American aircraft to be presented in the area during the trip. And Malley did not comment on what exact measures could be taken to ensure Pelosi's safety, but said the Pentagon will do what is necessary to ensure a safety conduct of that visit if Pelosi does travel to Taiwan. Associated Press that the U.S. already has enough forces spread around the Pacific region and the Pentagon, right? Because it's a lot of activity going on over there in the island, and it's definitely in the South China Sea in that region, because you got so many nations are their militaries is stationed there, Like I mentioned before in my previous videos, you got Beijing there, Japan, Taipei, Taiwan, then China, then United States, which is unofficially allies with Taiwan and other allies that support Taiwan as well too. So you got a lot of military activity going on in the South China Sea next to Taiwan, the island as well too. It says the news agency specifically named the U.S. aircraft carrier Ronald Reagan as its strike group, which could make a port call in Singapore over the weekend among the such forces. The groups, including the aircraft carrier itself and two other Navy ships, carriers, and Air Wing 5, consists of A-18 fighters, helicopter surveillance aircraft, the USS Benfold, a destroyer that passed through Taiwan Strait last week, was named as well. Pelosi, who initially planned the trip to Taiwan in April, but postponed her trip after contact with the code word 19 and visit if she does go ahead with the plan, she will become the highest ranking U.S. lawmaker to visit the island in 25 years. Newt Gingrich, who was also House Speaker at the time, visited in Taiwan in 1997. So if she does go further with the plans to visit the islands, so the United States, they're going to do any necessary measures to protect her, because you already got the current tensions going on between China and the United States over the territory of Taiwan being a sovereign country, self-governing country. And China is going to do any necessary measures to protect Taiwan, in the possible invasion of Taiwan with the Chinese army, That's soon to be continued in that situation. But as far as the situation between China and the United States, it seems like the situation is not getting so good. Even though, like I mentioned before, Joe Biden and the president of China, they having some type of discussions on this situation matter at hand. But I would expect the tension still be at an all-time high, especially with this potential visit of this potential visit of Nancy Pelosi visiting the islands. There's going to be more increased tensions between the United States and China as well too. So I'm gonna bring out this scripture. Matthews 24:6. And ye should hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, right? As we seeing, as I said in the introduction of this video lesson that I'm currently doing right now, you're seeing the tensions increasing with the nations rising against nations now more than ever, increasing. Kingdoms against different kingdoms as well too. Especially got a lot of activity going on in the South China Sea next to the Taiwan island as well too. So expect to see the tensions mount increase between China and the United States. United States continue to protect and be an unofficial ally with Taiwan to help them self-govern or they self-protection from, China trying to continue have them being part of China, because China might potentially invade Taiwan, so that tension is steady going to increase now more than ever. Then you had I believe like a couple of weeks ago, I did a video sit down lesson in regards to this, of the continuing heightened tensions over the South China Sea. And, the United States said they was gonna, defend the Philippines because there was some type of rule that China had broke or something like that. I forgot what it was. So yeah, so more tension is going to increase, especially down there in the South China Sea, the islands located down there, And bring out another scripture, precept, similar to Matthew 24:6, Mark 13:7. And when ye should hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must need be, but the end shall not be yet, right? Because the end is not yet. Because you got the MOTB, the hour of temptation, the Nicaragua, the full digital currency. So that's gonna continue. That's gonna come to pass as well too, because we're seeing signs of that. That Revelations 11:14, second war was past, and behold, the third war coming quickly. Because we're definitely living in the book of Revelations, and it's definitely increasing with the MOTB right around the corner, along with the WW3 as well too. Second war was past, behold, third war coming quickly. In reference to Revelations 13:16 through verse 17 through verse 18, and Revelations 11:14. In reference to those scriptures, as I mentioned, let's see. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9. But when ye should hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not by and by, right? Because you're seeing a lot of proxy wars, a lot of wars and commotions around the world. In the Middle East, seeing tensions increasingly between Israel and Palestine, tensions over there in Yemen, Got upwards of the people over there in Congo and Sudan. Got upwards of the people increasing. So you got a lot of many different things are happening, taking part on the planet Earth. The distress of nations, as you can read that in the book of Luke 21 and 25, I believe. Perplexity of nations, distress of nations, that's what you were saying. Upwards of the people, earthquakes in diverse places. And these lot of things are definitely taking part on the planet Earth. But the main focus is going to see a lot of increase of the nations in different kingdoms, and expect to see the tensions rise between China and the United States. They might discuss some issues or whatever, but they still gonna have that tension towards one another. And then they're gonna continue to have that who's the next superpower and all that. And China definitely been upgrading their nuclear arsenal, that military arsenal, throughout for the past 20 years. And that goes back into Joel 3:11. Let the weak say I am strong. Because China been definitely showing aggressiveness towards the West and the United States as well too. They say, hey, if you trying to protect Taiwan, hey, we're gonna do any measures, if it's harsh economic sanctions or it's gonna be a military option on the table. If you keep on equipping Taiwan with this military training and military aid and military support, your weaponry that you're sending to them, hey, we're going to do any measures, any means necessary measures. So yeah, expect to see increased tensions between China and the United States and its allies as well too. So with that, I would like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, of Great Millstone, Christian word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say Shabbat Shalom and a ball.